Hey, my name is Tyler Boronski. You're watching my YouTube channel where I'm sitting down with recognizable faces in entertainment. Today's guest, she's on one of the most widely popular shows that we've been watching for a while now, even since the YouTube Red days, Cobra Kai. She's on Cobra Kai Season 6, Part 2, playing Maria Alvarez. She is Jewelianna Ramos-Ortiz. Jewelianna, thanks for taking the time to do this. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. Well, like I said, it's such a fun show that, I know so many of us have been watching for years now. You got a chance to be involved in this, what's going to be the last season. I know they're splitting up into 3 different parts for us to soak it all in. But I'm curious for you, watching this past season, do you get to watch it still as a fan? Or is it a little different now that you're involved? How did you watch this past season?
Oh man. As a martial artist, first and foremost. So I've been a martial artist my entire life, which is kind of how I got into stunt work for TV and film. Getting to do it for Cobra Kai, which is the Miyagi-verse, right? The Karate Kid, which I grew up with. It's never gonna leave that magic from my life. So getting to be a part of it is super full circle, and getting to watch it as a fan, they're almost 2 separate accounts because it's just that special to me. So I got to watch it with a different light, knowing especially the characters like Alicia. She is so like tough and scary in this show. And then like when we were filming, she's like a ballerina. She's so sweet and love. So like getting to recognize like people's true personality while watching them on screen, it's even better.
You mentioned your background a little bit. You've been a stunt actress. You're also a world champion martial artist. So that is legit stuff that you're doing in the show. How have you taken, your background and being a martial artist and really implemented it to creating a niche within the entertainment, TV and film world?
So I was just at a martial arts event, a martial arts tournament in Canada a few hours ago. Like I just flew in, and I'm sitting and watching all of these phenomenal martial artists compete, remembering my days when I was a competitor, and I can see like, wow, this is why we as martial artists thrive in the stunt portion of the film industry, is because we aren't just gifted or talented or skilled because we've poured all of our time and energy into growing these physical skills. We've learned how to become performers. We learn how to play to the judges or play for the audience, how to pull them. When we start to hear the crowd going, we internalize that and we learn how to give them more of that. So we're not just skilled athletes, but we are performers. As a competitor that did forms and weapons, my job was to get the crowd going so they could help influence the judges. And so now translating that into film, I do that naturally, not even thinking about it. It's subconscious for me, but it's a reason why I'm successful at what I do, is because I've been a performer. I don't get to talk or tell you a story with my face or with my words, but I've been telling you a story with my physical body since I was a child. Like this is all I've ever done since I was 3 years old. So that is kind of what translated and made me, I think, a good performer for TV and film.
I think that's a really good comparison. All right, talk about how you got connected with Cobra Kai. I know you have a relationship already with your husband, being involved in the show prior. For those who aren't that familiar with it, that situation, can you remind our audience and really talk about how you landed on the show?
Yeah. So my husband got on season 3 in the House LaRusso fight. He was a stunt Cobra Kai fighter. But he didn't have a name. He wasn't like a character. He was just a Cobra Kai stunt guy. And people are kind of seeing the connection and like, wait, hold on, that's the same guy that plays Diego. So yes, my husband also plays Diego, but they're not the same character. It's just the same actor. The reason why I got on the show this time around for season 6, actually, both of us, is the fight coordinator, Don Lee. He knows us from the sport martial arts world. So the tournament that I retired at, which is AKA Warrior Cup in Chicago, I stepped off the stage and I didn't realize it would be my last time competing. But soon after, I met up with John Lee and Una. Una O'Brien was there actually.
Oh,
She was
no way.
watching.
Oh my
And
gosh.
I was like, hey, I'm in Atlanta. If I'm pursuing stunts now. So like if you have anything, he goes, yeah, you know what? Like, here's my email. Send me your stuff. And then when we got back over, he started to talk to Justin because they knew each other much before. And he was like, I see this for you and Jules, like characters that kind of have these, things that you guys already have in the sport karate world. And I can see you guys like playing off of each other and all this stuff. So he already kind of had a place for us in season 6 in his mind. He then presented us and our martial arts documentaries to the writers. And I think they kind of just came up with a way to integrate us into the storyline this season. And what an honor it was. And that's how I got on Cobra Kai. He saw me compete. I told him I was pursuing stunt work, and he was like, oh, yeah. And I love Justin. So if you're his wife, then you must be great too. And that was the connection.
That's amazing. I love it. That's pretty cool to have someone gonna have you in mind always for that long to carve out a role in a sense for you. Really, really special from that standpoint. What was the filming process like? How long were you in Atlanta for, and hanging out in that dojo or the whatever world champion stage? How long were you there for?
Yeah, so I'm an Atlanta local, so
Okay.
I have already been here, and Cobra Kai has been filming in Atlanta since
Right.
season 3, I think. It was from February until May. And then right as we wrapped, we had already been booked on, Justin and I had been booked on Superman. So like as soon
Oh.
as we wrapped the next week, like we were on a plane headed over to
Oh
go
my
shoot
god.
that. And so it was just a whirlwind of like emotions and gratitude and like one chapter closing, another one opening, and like big stuff that like meant so much to us. But it was probably some of the best, like, what is that? 4 months?
Sure.
March, May,
Yeah.
February, March, April, May, 4 months, yeah.
Just a whirlwind, just a roller coaster for those 4 months. So
Sure, yeah,
that's a good problem to have. You'd rather have the craziness and the chaoticness of a busy schedule like that than not. So,
correct.
what was your relationship like with some of the actors? Obviously, you had some of the fun scenes with like Dimitri and Hawk in the restaurant. Dimitri, you gotta stay loyal, man. That's a lesson learned right there. But what
Yeah.
was your rapport with some of the actors on set there?
Oh my gosh, everybody is just so sweet and so welcoming and loving, and they've been training martial arts now for how many years that they've been working on the show. So they're all at some capacity martial artists too. So they have this respect for other martial artists when they get brought on the show. They're like, "Oh my goodness, yes, like another one." Like they just really accept and welcome us as part of their own. And Dimitri and Hawk, obviously, like they're just so funny on and off camera.
Yeah.
They're hilarious. It was almost impossible to shoot these dancing scenes with them because they were
Yeah.
behind the camera trying to get me to break character. And then I would try and return the favor when the camera was facing them and I was on the other side. Um, Peyton was just so sweet and loving. We shared a few tears when we wrapped at the Saikai
Mm,
Tai Tai. Reina is
sure.
just we've grown up like in the martial arts world. She's just a few years younger than me, so we've kind of
Okay.
like been in a similar path.
Yeah.
And finally getting to work together on film, doing something that means so much to us in our careers was just it was really nice to hold space for each other and just hold each other and be like, we did it. Like we're doing this. Like little us would be so proud. Who else? Tanner is so talented. Mary is so sweet and loving. Alicia is just so funny because you see her like she's like dancing around
Yeah.
like a little fairy, like a pixie on set, and then all of a sudden she's like
Right. She just turned around
camera.
just like that.
So everybody's just they've got their own personalities. Jacob and I also like we have a picture of him like holding my face and we're like about to cry because like we all just got so close. That when we wrapped on those last days, it kind of hit like, oh
Yeah.
man, like our little family, like our big little family is, we're moving on to the next big stuff and we'll see you
Sure.
there, but I'm gonna miss you.
Well, like you said earlier, hopefully, being on a show like this, it's leveraging already for you guys, your next journeys and whatever the next project is for all of you. I'm curious, you mentioned, a lot of these actors, they've been around different martial artists and stunt coordinators. I mean, obviously, it's 6 seasons worth. Did you still feel need to give advice, obviously, given your background, or is there really just so many people on set that have a martial art background that you're able to just like focus on acting, or do you kind of find yourself, giving advice and giving tips on set?
I don't like unsolicited advice. So I don't give unsolicited advice. And it is still very humbling and uh it makes me so proud and honored when people do come and ask for advice. But other than that, everybody there has fantastic guidance. I mean, Don Lee is a phenomenal martial artist. He runs it like a dojo. We have plenty of days in the stunt dojo to rehearse, learn, train. We even train like martial arts classes, like traditional martial arts forms that you don't see in the show, because if you're going to be portraying a martial artist, you might as well know what the foundation is. And so plenty of us have had enough experience training it that you don't, yeah, I don't feel the need to go up to them and be like, oh, you should. And everybody's got their own style and their own flavor. And that's the beautiful thing about the martial arts, is that there's no, 100% exact sure way, because the way that somebody kicks in Taekwondo is not the same way that they kick in Muay Thai or Shotokan karate. They all have their different lineages. And because we were so many dojos, everybody got to tap into those different styles. But Crease, I put up a video where he walked up to me and told my husband, like, hey, you have a phone? Start recording. And I had no idea what was about to happen, and he just started to give me this praise. He didn't even know my name. Like, right before the video goes, he goes, what's your name? And I was like, I'm cool.
Juliana.
And he just started saying
forgot
like
your name
stuff
for a
about
second.
me.
You're like, I don't know.
I don't know what. I don't know my name at this point. What? Me? And so he starts to give me praise about my kick. And he even after asked me, he was like, what is it? Like, what are the, and it's just so humbling.
That's so cool. I do want to ask you about filming that final scene. We give the spoilers, obviously, everything just lets loose. And obviously, again, big spoiler with Quan dying in that, to end part 2. What impressed you most about how that was filmed? Because obviously there was a million moving parts for a scene like that.
We had been building, rehearsing, and putting together those brawl fights for months. I mean, like, we had this massive whiteboard, and there was like writing like this big, like minuscule handwriting, like super tiny, with all the different scene notes, like moments, emotional times, like stories that needed to be told within the brawl on this whiteboard. And basically, like, our stunt coordinator, Ken Bearfield, and our fight coordinator, Don, they would like break us up and be like, okay, so you guys are going to be in charge of building these fights for these people, and this needs to be told. Go and work on this. Show me what you got. And then, so it was kind of delegated to a lot of us to help build that. But it was going on for months and, or weeks at least. And shooting it was so incredible because everybody had already been through enough rehearsals that they knew what was going on. They're all like handpicked, talented performers that if something, it looks like it needs a little more background fighting in the background, he could very easily be like, all right, I want you 3 to fight these 3 because your dojos have beef. You guys go in the back and like improv fight. And we knew what the story was. We knew what we needed to do. And we could safely just fight in the background without anybody getting hurt. The most impressive part was the leadership. The fact that they kind of like took the handles and were like, okay, in the script, we need to tell this story. So this is going to happen over here. So that way, when we shoot this over here, we see it in the back and we know that this is happening at the same time. And they were just the leadership, being able to delegate and tell them, okay, yeah, but now continuity wise, if these people are fighting there, then we need them to continue to fight when we shoot over here. And we shot all of that in like a day and a half, in like 2 days. It was the most
That's amazing.
impressive thing I have ever seen pulled off, especially for TV.
Yeah.
I have to say leadership, like from production down, everybody knew their place. They knew what the goal was and they ran and executed it.
That's awesome. That's really cool to hear. I watched that scene like 3 times. So that was like, it was amazing to hear kind of how it was coordinated so well, because it really turned out excellent in my opinion. Last thing for you, do you have aspirations to just get some traditional acting roles that has nothing to do with martial arts? Like, would that be something you're pursuing, you're interested in?
Absolutely. As a stunt performer, I've been so in love with the art of storytelling physically that almost in that world, it's not super normal for them to go off and become actors. But I realized what I love most about stunts, and the reason why I think I do it well is because I'm a passionate storyteller. And so I'm ready to start accepting and pursuing more just storytelling roles in general. I just did my first lead acting role on a feature film. And I can't talk about it yet. I don't know how much I can and can't say, but yes, I am pursuing more acting stuff. I didn't really think it was for me until recently.
Mm.
The Humming Grows, which is a film in the film festival route at the moment, they were the first ones that were like, hey, you don't just have to do stunts. Like, you could be the lead. Like, you could do this. And that was like almost shocking to me. Like, wait, hold on. What? Me? Sure? You sure? And so now that I recognize, yes, that is a path that I can take and it makes me very happy, I will be pursuing it much more in 2025.
Sometimes it just takes one person to plant that seed, or I don't know, wake you up to that thought in a sense, because
I know.
that's really cool. We'll have to get you back on when you can talk about that lead project. So we'll keep that in the back of the mind. But she's Jewelianna Ramos-Ortiz. Catch her in Cobra Kai Part 2, and we got Part 3 coming up in just a couple months. So Jewelianna, thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Tyler. I had such a blast chatting with you.